What I mean, there's multiple ways we're using technology. The first is we're creating digital images, and everyone's shooting digitally right now. And I see it as just an extension of the darkroom process, that it's a new process for creating. But our concept, I mean, my work and research, I always believe that contemporary work should be based in an area of research. And my research just happens to be the internet. It's not exclusive, it's not any different from someone's research who's hiking, but I'm walking the internet. So that's how I kind of view technology in my work. And it's a necessary tool for me, and it's something I have to use. I enjoy using it. I enjoy sitting in front of a computer screen. Not many people do, but that's how that's my research and that's my process.
Well, for me, it's not really a factor. I'm always chasing ideas, and the tools that I use are whatever tools will best express those ideas. So if I wanted to do something that made more sense as an animation, I wouldn't hesitate to do something, with animation, or to learn a new skill or pick up a new technical tool, in order to do what I wanted to get across. For me, my ideas happen to be photographic right now, but I don't feel any compulsion that I have to make things be photographic. Well, none of the people whose tweets we photographed have contacted us to complain, but sometimes when we're out photographing in the world, we encounter curious neighbors wanting to know what's going on, or neighborhood watch people, and on several occasions I've had the police called on me. Uh, when we photograph, I think it's important to note that we're always in public areas. We don't go onto private property. We don't trespass. So if we're photographing somebody's home, we'll photograph from the street or another commons area. And it's interesting too that Marnie gets very different responses as a female than I get as a male. So Marnie, typically people ask her if she's an assessor, like a tax assessor, or if she's a realtor, whereas somehow I'm more suspicious as a male. Most recently, we're photographing in College Park, which is in Maryland, where the University of Maryland is. And I was photographing near the student dorms, and the campus police were called on a report of suspicious activity. I was photographing on a sidewalk near the dorms, but somebody must have seen me from a dorm window and called the campus police. So when the police came, they asked me, of course, what I was doing, and I explained that the university was commissioning us to make some photographs on campus, for the university art collection. And I gave them my driver's license and my faculty ID where I teach, and I gave them a press packet of different clippings, about the project. And every time that's happened, it's diffused the situation to give all that information and be very, very open, about the whole thing. Well, I took my first class in Photoshop in 1997, I believe. It would have been just after my freshman year of college. And at that time, I just remember it being exciting. Photoshop at that point had just added the capability for layers. So, prior to working with that, I guess if you moved a piece of something, everything would become permanent at that moment. And I remember there just being a lot of excitement at that moment in time about using computers, about using toys. I remember that Apple had the clones licensed for the first time, where you could buy an Apple computer that wasn't made by Apple before they ended up buying those back. And I just remember at that moment, everything seemed very new and very exciting. And of course, I was interested in learning the traditional processes as well, but it just seemed like all the energy was directed towards digital. Like, what's possible? What can we do now? Like, what are those things that have changed, or what are the new conversations we can have? And then when I continued into graduate school, again, like, it was still very sort of exciting. Like, we had our first big Epson printer that was 44 inches in graduate school. And the idea that you could print a 44-inch print without having to rig up some kind of tray or trough system in the darkroom was.
My process is informed by my time, by the times I was spending more time in front of the computer before um, even before technology had caught up to photo, where I was doing, darkroom prints, but I was still, email was coming about, and I was beginning to read on the internet. So I began to spend more and more time with my computer.